So what I'm going to say here, as far as I'm concerned, is there must be transparency and accountability. It must not be business as usual. When these weapons are bought, all of us, we will all police and see that there is, that these weapons are really bought, equipments are bought, and beyond that, we should not forget about the IDPs also. Okay. Their condition, their welfare must be looked into.
Colonel Dare, let's just step back a bit. You said the military as it is, things are not right in your words. As it is, the equipment they're using are obsolete.
Yes, some of the equipment are obsolete.
But do they have some equipment procured in the last administration?
Well, I
mean, from what the Major General Lenche showed us yesterday, they obviously have that rifle, but maybe not as many as they would want.
Yes, and you must.
So what am I? I'm coming. So they have that, but the question is, do they need to spend $1 billion to get equipment? And what's the guarantee that they will get the equipment and the logistics they need for this?
Again, exactly what I've just told you. There must be transparency and accountability.
Has there ever been transparency and accountability in the purchases of equipment? Because someone actually said here on our set that you don't probe how the military spends money on buying equipment for execution of wars.
Well, maybe in the past, but I think Nigerians are now wiser.
Do you think that we're on the right path? Because people will argue that, for instance, the source of funding of the terrorists, Boko Haram, the government has failed to tackle that. Would you agree to that kind of submission? Let me rephrase that.
Okay.
Do you think that the government owes that responsibility to the Nigerian people to find the funding source of Boko Haram?
Absolutely, they do.
Why have they not done that?
I believe it's still a work in progress. I believe it's a work in progress. Because really, these people are not spirits. They live within us. But obviously, I believe some people are still sympathetic to their cause.
Because it's believed that if you find the source of their funding, you would have combated this problem 50% already. So people are wondering, if you cannot find the source of the funding of terrorists, and you go ahead to $1 billion to try to prosecute this war that is unconventional, and you cannot really fight it with weapons, then perhaps the government is not fully informed about how to go about fighting Boko Haram in the northeast.
Jimba, it is not totally right to say you cannot fight it with weapons. For instance, if a certain area is identified as an enclave of terrorists, do you go there without arms? Do you go there without arms?
Will an AK-47 do that work?
An AK-47? What we are saying now is...
No, the question is, will an AK-47 help in prosecuting the war?
An AK-47, not the modern warfare.
But that's what they used to degrade Boko Haram in the first place. Well, he even said it, Major General Neche said it, that is what they've been using, and they have been able to take away 17 local governments in Borno State that were occupied by, under occupation by Boko Haram.
Now listen, I think there's something that we really need to get clear here. When you are talking about these equipments and funding, it's not just for the Army alone. We have the Air Force, we have the Navy, and the Army. For example, the Air Force. I want to believe that their own platforms, especially the Air Force and the Navy, their platforms are even more expensive. They are more expensive.
This is what the Navy SEALs did in the United States in the build-up of insurgency that they used to prosecute some of the insurgency in allied countries that are allied to the U.S.
Yes.
The Navy SEALs underwent heavy training.
Yes.
They had a squad.
Yes.
That was able to move in and counter terrorist elements and decimated them and stopped them completely. And till this day, we've not heard of them anymore. Do you think that if you spend $1 billion to equip the Navy, the Army, and the Air Force, why not just come out plainly and say we need to re-equip the military formation in Nigeria, instead of saying that we're going to use this to fight Boko Haram in the northeast?
Yeah.
Because those are two different things. If you cannot use the whole army to fight Boko Haram, you'll be losing this battle. Because from history, it has shown that if you must fight insurgency, you must use specialized forces. And it's not about equipping the whole military formation.
Well, if it's nomenclature or words that are used that is a problem here. Because honestly, like I said earlier, as far as I'm concerned, this is not an issue of the Northeast alone. You know, it's a national matter that everybody has to rise to, you know. So the insurgency is not affecting. Don't forget, okay, say for example, what about the kidnapping? What about the kidnapping? Even here in Lagos, all over, we have issues of kidnapping, you know.
Are you concerned that the governors were unable to categorically say what this money will be used for?
Well, the governors, like we all heard, they said, you know, to support the federal government fight against insurgency.